Hello everybody. Last week I talked about sex. Don't get too excited. It was about writing about sex. Anyway, this week I'm back to the nitty-gritty. I've talked generally about copyright and I've mentioned two approaches. One is fair use, which is using short quotes to make a point. And the other one is scraping, where you use information you've taken from the net and probably rewritten somehow or reproduced in a way that is not going to offend the copyright owner. But an old friend called me earlier in the week and he asked about a third way that one can handle copyright material without infringing on people's rights. This is called Creative Commons, and that's what I want to talk about today. Creative Commons is a licensing system. It's a balance between traditional copyright, which can be very restrictive, and the public domain, which is simply a free-for-all where nobody gets paid or keeps the rights that they are entitled to. Creative Commons is a way of giving people the freedom to use, share and build on their original work. But you have to follow the terms specified by the original owner of the work, whether they're an artist, a writer, a photographer or a designer. So what you get is a license granted under the Creative Commons system. So what is that? I wish this was simple, but I found that the simplest thing about writing books is the writing bit. Imagination is free, but the rest of it can be a bureaucratic nightmare. Back to Creative Commons licenses. Let's break them down. You can see a list of them here. Attribution is the easiest one, which lets you use and modify the original which is released by the owner. And you can pretty much use the attribution license for anything that you want to do. Share alike is any work you based on the original, but it must be released under the same Creative Commons license as the original. Non-commercial means you can use the work, but you can't use it to make money for commercial purposes. There's no selling or making money on the back of the work. And then finally, there's no derivatives, which means that you can share the work, but you cannot modify or derive a work from it. You have to understand these differences. What you can't do is assume because it says Creative Commons on, let's say, a photograph or an illustration or a map or a poem or a song lyric, you can't assume that you can simply go ahead and use it for anything. You can't. What's the rule of thumb? It's to give credit to the owner of the original work, to the creator of the work. And that helps them acknowledge the work and ensures the continual availability of it under the Creative Commons resources. So how do you find Creative Commons? Well, there are two main ways. There are Creative Commons search engines, websites like, it's called Creative Commons Search, CC Search, and that enables you to find works with specific licenses across various platforms. And then there's looking for Creative Commons on the platforms themselves. So YouTube, Flickr, SoundCloud, or they all offer filters to find the content under the Creative Commons licenses. But here's what I do. This is my usual routine. Let's say I need a photograph of a medieval knight. I do. My latest book, which I'm halfway through writing, called Guardian of Kings, is about a knight, a warrior in the 11th century. So I need a photograph to work with. I search the internet for images that I might find useful, and I'll find hundreds of them. And almost all of them have some kind of copyright attached. And of course, I could go ahead and pay for that copyright, but you know, that might be expensive. But I could find many of these images on companies like Shutterstock, Google Images, Alamy, or Dreamstime. These are the major license or image sellers on the net. Here's a look at their company logos. These companies sell licenses to their customers, and they allow images to be used only for the purposes based on the type of license that you pay for. And it can be very expensive. But image creators contribute their work to these platforms, and they earn royalties whenever their images are downloaded for use. Or I can look at a platform like Pinterest, which is not an image agency, it's a social media platform that allows people to discover what images are out there, to collect them and share images and videos on virtual pin boards, they're called. So it's one way of going about it. It doesn't sell the image directly. You have to pay the creator themselves for the use of the image. I don't use Pinterest very much. And I don't use Shutterstock or any of the other agencies either. So what do I try and do? I search Mr. Google for a medieval knight image free or medieval knight image commons. And here's what I get via Google. So from this short selection of images which are all under commons, I select the one that I like, and I find out that that particular image has a Creative Commons license under the first level, the attribution or BY level, which means I can use it as long as I attribute it to its creator. Job done. So what are the real advantages of Creative Commons apart from probably saving you money? There are advantages for both the creators of the work and for the users. It expands the people's creativity. It allows people to share and encourages collaboration, creativity for artists, musicians, writers and other creators to build on existing works. It allows for rapid and coherent creation of content. You can find ready-made resources to work with. You don't have to reinvent the wheel yourself. And there is legal protection. So the creators can protect their work while permitting certain uses and avoid the complexities of the traditional copyright method, which may restrict use of their work. So there we are. It's a viable, fair and comprehensive way of circumventing what I think are rather harsh copyright laws. But you must understand the Creative Commons licenses. The rule is look for the CC or Creative Commons designation, check the code, whether it's BY, SA, NC or ND, and then follow the instructions that it gives you to the letter. If the image or the object that you want to use is not under Creative Commons, sorry, bad luck. What you have to do then is get back to the copyright holder and pay them whatever they want. Do not try and avoid copyright because that's stealing and you will be caught these days. Thanks very much. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, give us a like, subscribe, and see you next week.